This video is going to be about watercolor technique. We're going to build off of some of the things that we've talked about in previous videos, like layering, complex color, soft edges, hard edges, things like that. So with watercolor, again, I like to start with a basic pencil sketch. This one, again, is drawn a little bit darker than I normally would do because I want it to show up enough on the video that you can actually see what that object is supposed to be. There's a block shape and some shadows over here. So we're going to attack this with the watercolors. And one technique I want to discuss is how to get hard edges and soft edges with the watercolors. So if you go with a wet watercolor onto dry paper, you're going to end up with the ability to have a hard edge. Okay, looks like I got some blue mixed in there somehow. Just going to kind of mix that together. It's a hard edge, and I'm using a large brush, as large as I can get away with, to cover this area to keep it relatively flat. Because if I go back and throw a bunch of different strokes on there, they may start showing up as brush strokes. But as long as I can cover that area fairly quickly, it's going to be nice, flat, even application of color. Okay, so that's all hard edges all the way around. Try to ignore that awful little blue streak. I don't know how that got in there. My brush must not have been very clean. So anyway, let's say that we want to have a soft edge somewhere. One easy way to do that is to take a clean brush that's dipped in water and just go along that edge that you just made, and you can sort of soften that up a little bit. So that made that edge quite a bit softer. The other way is to do what's called a wet into wet technique. So let's say I want this edge to be hard and this edge to be soft. Then I'm going to leave that part dry and then go ahead and pre-wet this area here where I want that soft edge to go. And then when I apply my color, a little darker purple on this one. When I go along that edge, it's going to stay sharp, and then when I hit this part, it should just go really soft. So there I've controlled my edges. I've got a hard edge where I want it, and I've got a soft edge down here where I want it to be soft. And you can notice how it goes right into there and kind of bleeds. That's how you can control your edges a little bit. Okay, so a nice soft edge, a nice hard edge. So wet into wet, if I've got, I want to complexify my color a little bit, so I've got that purplish thing going on. Let's add a little bit of blue. This is probably going to dull it down. This is not quite the blue I would normally pick. But while it's still wet, you can go in and tint different areas of a slightly different color. It's called wet into wet. And again, that should all kind of bleed in together. Let's get a different blue here. So wet into wet, you can see how it kind of fades and blends in together. This is really useful for painting skies especially. It's really nice if you want to do a nice sky image. I just would get the whole sky area, get that started nice and wet. You can even use a spray bottle, kind of wet your paper. And then when you go in with your blues, I'm going to pick like a little bit of a dilute Prussian blue here. And when you go in, you get these wonderful, like soft, airy, atmospheric effects. Nothing but soft edges. It's really nice for creating clouds and in areas of sky. It just sort of happens all by itself. You don't even have to really try that hard to get it to work. Okay, so that's actually kind of shiny. That's why you're seeing those highlights there. Okay, so now some other techniques we can talk about. Next time we will go into layering. So this video is mostly about wet into wet techniques and controlling your edges. So we'll see you soon.